of your benefit would be increased. And I have some of that in some of the examples. Okay, let's take a look at, if you want to take a look at example 2, this is a Western pilot, and I figured Kammermeyer would probably catch me with an error on this one. But example 2 says a former Western pilot retired in February of 2002 at age 60 with 15 years of Delta service. Now, Pete, what's wrong with that? Oh, you can't find example 2. Oh, good. By February of 2002, a Western pilot didn't have 15 years of Delta service, and I didn't realize that till I was reading this on the way up on the plane. But let's pretend that he did, so then I'll come back and make it pure. And if he had a final average earning of $160,000, the calculation would be the $160,000 by 30% of the final average earnings by 15 years divided by 20 years, and the calculation comes out to $28,800 annually, or $2,400 a month. That would be that's the initial benefit that the survivor would have. However, you divide the survivor benefit into 2 parts. It has a fixed benefit and a variable benefit. So in this case, the pilot would have $1,200, or the survivor would have $1,200 as a fixed, $1,200 as a variable. The variable could change every year. Now, in this particular case, in 2002, February 2002, the unit value of the variable benefit was $37.55. As of April 1st of 2008, it just increased to $37.30. It is still below the threshold where when this person retired, so there would not be a variable increase at this time. The variable benefit could never go below $1,200 for this pilot, but it could go above. Now, if I corrected this one to show that at 15 years of service, they actually retired on October 1st of 2002 and made it pure, it would change the figures. Because in the following year, in April 1st of 2002, the benefit unit value changed to $37.29. And now it's $37.30. So there would be maybe a nickel this year that would increase, a slight increase of that $1,200. But if you look at the table of the variable benefits, you'll see that back in the early 90s, like when Dick Deeds retired in 1994, it was $21.17. And if you try to update that to $37.30, you can see that you've got more than a doubling of the variable portion. So when I talked with Dick, and I'll just give you the rough figures that I remember Dick told me, I said, well, what were you getting from the Delta retirement plan prior to bankruptcy? Or maybe even now, because most of the more senior people didn't lose much in the bankruptcy. They didn't have much to begin with, but they didn't lose a lot. And Dick said $650. So that would be the base that your survivor would have $650, but it would be $325 per month. And then the $325 would have gone up by more than have doubled, because the unit value went from whatever I just gave you, the $17, I think it was, went from no, it didn't double, from $21.19 up to $37. Okay, so it went up by maybe whatever, 75%. And so if the 325 went up by 75%, then it's probably, I'm trying to do this math as I speak, but it's well over 500. You add that back to the other 325, and so you're approaching maybe $900 a month that you would get. So that's a feature that I'm not sure that the actuaries who evaluate the plan every year fully understand. I'm hoping that they're putting that in plan liabilities, because if you go back in time, think of the Delta pilots who are passing away almost daily, who retired in the 80s when the benefit unit values were under $10. And they're $37 today, so that variable part would go up by 3.7 times and increase the obligations on the plan dramatically. Okay. I'm going to take a little break.